Hello, Super Metroid fans. Hello, speed running fans. We are here for more Rando League action. We are in the regular season. It's week 6. It's Dash Recall. We got two top teams in the Brinstar division for you today for this little matchup. My name is Professor School. I am joined here in the commentary booth by none other than the inimitable Eden. Eden, what's up?
Hey Prof, I'm really excited for this race. Like you said, we've got two great teams because World Cup Bress for Rupees are currently 7-2, I think, and I think Mastercard is currently 7-3. No, sorry, World Cup Bress is 8-2. Wow. So it's gonna be a pretty good matchup for this race. It's all to play for this week in the Brinstar division, as we will see Vileplumes and Shuttle's Nightmare. Did you say that's going to be next week?
That's this week. Vileplume and
That's this
Shaxx
week.
Nightmare. There's 2 games today. I am going to be in action. So is Nevdi against Pixel Perfect and Iron Rusty. So we've got all 4 of the top seeds in the stacked Brinstar division in action. Vileplume and Wilcup Bress at 8-2, Mastercard and Shack at 7-3. We are jockeying for playoff position right now, and it's going to be an exciting one. So we are off. The flag is dropped, and here we go. Folks, buckle in. We've got 2 very talented runners. MM2 Nest Cartridge on your left for Wilcut, Bress for Rupees, and then on your right, P-Toil, also an excellent Rando runner. People asking in the chat what's going on with this crazy start time. Both of these runners at the top of the game when it comes to Super Metroid Vanilla category, Mappo completion. So you do the math, how many tiles are there in map completion, and you'll figure out our Eastern Daylight Time start. But we're here for Rando action. Eden, what do we have to expect today from this Dash Recall seed?
We can definitely expect a lot of high-level gameplay from both these runners. We can definitely see maybe some suitless action in both Meridia and Norfair, because this is major minor. So if the items line up, we might very well see like a grapple beam, an ice beam, a spring ball, and then we could basically guarantee a suitless Meridia play. And if we get enough E-tanks, we might even see a suitless Lower Norfair play. So it's definitely going to depend on where these suits are going to be.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think Dash does give you a lot of flexibility with regards to the capacity of people to move quickly and move through suitless parts of this map. Of course, we've got our new items that have been introduced. Heat Shield, which is a total heat reduction damage in Upper Norfair and 50% reduction in Lower Norfair. And then Pressure Valve, which will get us through pretty much everything except East Meridia, functioning the way that gravity does. It works for everything in those areas. It will not work for lava and acid, though. So some things for our runners to keep in mind if they find those sort of half-suit upgrades.
Yeah, it's actually interesting because from what I've seen from the Dash seeds so far this week, kind of seems like those like heat shields and pressure valves haven't actually come into play that much, because we've always found both suits before actually needing to use like the quote-unquote half suits. So it's definitely gonna be like a fascinating seed if we do find like a pressure valve or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. So very good here. I think both of these runners using those power bombs to see if they can spike super missiles. You could theoretically run a meme route here going around clockwise. It's not necessarily advisable. If you don't have supers, you have the chance to miss out on some items if you don't find them. So you use that power bomb pack and get over. I like that check. And here's the super pack. We won't be seeing them go back down at this point. We'll see normal route from both of our runners.
Yeah, doing meme route with no supers. I have seen runners do it before, but because obviously Pink Brinstar has that green door, and if it so happens that there's no super missiles at all, then it can be kind of awkward. But yeah, it's just a little too late to see those super missiles now. But
Yeah,
it would have been cool to see a route divergence.
I think it's a pretty reasonable play, even without super missiles in area rando, just because you don't want to orphan that portal. You at least want to go through and see. In vanilla map, it can be a little bit riskier, and if those supers are going to be restricted in this seed, and you miss out on a pack, and you're missing on a key major that could be a suit, it's probably just a little bit too much risk. So let's see. Here's a charge upgrade at BT for both of our runners. We'll see if either one of them decides to check Gauntlet here. I think it's probably unlikely.
Yeah, I think because there's only like one powerbomb pack, and there's not really a way out of Gauntlet or a way all the way through Gauntlet, that it's pretty unnecessary right now. But it is kind of fascinating that they're both choosing to skip that 230 missiles check, because that could be like another super pack or another powerbomb pack, which would be pretty advantageous at this stage.
Yeah, I think that would have been the only situation where if someone had checked 230, you could potentially find a second powerbomb pack and decide to go up, but it's just, I don't know, it feels really slow. You already have at least one of all of your miners, and I think in that case, maybe you could justify a 230 play looking for, your first pack of supers or power bombs, but in this case, I like the play to just go down here. These are both really good runners, and they're going to be trying to push the needle here. We'll see how they clear through the rest of this green Bryn area, but I expect them to go as soon as they have a quick go mode here.
Yeah, it's also going to be interesting to see if they skip some checks. Like, I've seen a race where someone skipped the Etikunj check, which turned out to not be the play. But it does come into question, like, oh, if your opponent is MM2 or if your opponent is P-Toil, then it's like, it really begs the question of what you're going to skip. And looks like we're getting a pressure valve, which is already off to a good start for a very interesting seed. So that will give us access to the front half of Meridia, and also some water areas like the moat, so you can gravity jump in the moat. And if we find a speed booster, then it'll be handy for waterway as well.
Third pack of supers already, so this is nice. I think obviously you're going to be a little bit more aggressive in terms of your ammo pickups. Like, I actually think P-Toil skipping that missile pack is pretty reasonable, having already gotten to 15. I think that's a good one to leave behind. You're likely to run into other missiles along the way. But the supers, at least until you get to Ridley ammo, 25 or 30, they just save so much time, even with the progressive charge upgrades that we have in Dash, that I think you continue to pick those up, maybe even past 30, depending on your charge beam loadout at that point.
Yeah, I think having 30 supers early on, or even more supers, like, this is really good. If we see like an early low and warfare, or if we find a grapple beam or something, because we're pretty much nearly there on the full suitless Meridia, so having like the more supers to fight Dragon is really good.
Yeah, I just need a grapple and either ice or spring ball at this point. So it is an option. I actually am not sure how comfortable P-Toil is with that. I know that MM will be very comfortable to push without gravity if not finding it, but we've got a sort of a long way to go still, and you've got to consider things like the potential of gravity for helping you out with LN if you only find heat shield. So we need a little bit more of the seed revealed, but certainly Suitless Meridia is getting very close to possible already. There's P-Toil skipping another missile pack. That one's actually in the room without much of a divergence. I wouldn't have minded picking that up, but I think if you think you're maybe slightly behind your opponent in terms of how favored you are, you might want to push a little bit more. And I think you can justify both of those missile skips so far for P-Toil.
Yeah, I'm into having 25 missiles already. So if we never find ice or speed, and our progression is a Spazer, then it's gonna be slightly better for MM2 so far if we have to do a Zep skip. But like you said, we're so far away that, there's a lot of items yet to be found. And there's a screw attack. So that could definitely be very useful for Lower Norther later down the line. I don't think either of these runners will be going up towards Red Ship or Criteria, but that screw attack could definitely reveal another item in Gauntlet as a, just because they don't have another power bomb pack just yet.
Yeah, so this is a nice pickup, because P-Toil clearly choosing to skip missiles that are slightly out of the way, even if they're in the same room without a transition. That seems to be the strategy, is to push a little more. And look, P-Toil already up to 25, being able to pick up those charge missiles and the tube missiles. I think that's really nice. You get right up to 25 as you would before, but you do it without spending the extra 5 to 6 seconds. And, against a runner like MM2, even being as good of a runner as P-Toil is, I think that's a good decision. I think I'd probably make the same decision in this case.
Yeah, so P-Toil is skipping X-Ray, and I think MM2 will skip X-Ray as well, but when you've got 2 E-Tanks, and even though X-Ray is a really long check, it does kind of question oh, I can definitely do this on my E-Tanks right now, so it does kind of feel a little bit bad to kind of leave it behind.
And there's ice, so you can essentially just be one grapple short of getting to and through Batun at this point, if that's something that you're considering. Yeah, I don't know, Eden, it's a good question. I think, you've got a backup. High jump it's not the easiest backup if you fail sort of the final deboost into X-Ray, but it is a backup. You can theoretically do it without taking any damage on the spikes, but it's really, really hard. I don't know, only on 2+1 and with no saves, it's a really risky play, and there's so many locations right now that you can still check. There's even more in Dash than in Major Minor. I think it's 36 instead of 34. So I don't know. I think in this situation, I would probably also skip X-Ray. It's a tough one because, you could break the seed wide open if you just get it now. But gosh, it just feels so risky on 2+1. If I had 1 or 2 more tanks or, some other form of environmental protection, I might be more willing to do that.
Yeah, I mean, in races, I've literally seen people do X-Ray deboost with little to no E-Tanks, and they've been rewarded with Varia suit, which obviously provides that extra environmental protection against the spikes.
I totally agree. I mean, I think it depends on your opponent. If I was racing someone who I thought was a pretty clear favorite over me, that might be a risk I was willing to take. This is a reasonably evenly matchup race, and gosh, if you make a critical error here, it could just be lights out if you die there without a save.
Yeah, it's definitely pros and cons right now, but chances are the runners will go past Red Tower at some point. And MM2 kind of making a mistake here by not getting the Kraid's critical, which always feels bad when you miss it. But when you're going up against an opponent who's pretty equally matched compared to you, I kind of feel like MM2 might start playing a little bit more risky, honestly, just because of that.
Mm-hmm. Well, we've got decision time coming up for our runners because they're about to leave Kraid's lair here. They both were forced to leave behind the major at Waterway. They both chose not to pick up X-Ray. And now there's a question, right? Because they have 4 tanks, which actually does put the Hell runs in logic here. And I don't know, you could go down to Upper Norfair and hope to score something. You'd be really comfy, I think, if you had 4 tanks and Varia and Screw and High Jump. That's a really, really comfy Lower Norfair. But if you don't get it, this is sort of the thing. Yeah, okay, so P-Toil going down. I mean, I think this is sort of the thing about Dash, is it introduces so many additional points where you can change the direction that you're going to be going. I think it's sort of yet to be figured out the meta of that and what the correct way to play. But right now with this loadout, you could go to Upper Norfair and you could try to cash in. You could use Pressure Valve. You could go straight to Meridia, and the answer might be there. So I don't know. It's not straightforward. I don't know what the correct answer is necessarily in this place.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of surprised that both runners decided to go do that trade E-Tank location, especially because P-Toil has already skipped so many other missile packs.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen a lot of people skip the E-Tank location because, for those of you who don't know, it's now classed as a minor location in Dash. So the only thing that it could have been to really benefit them would be like a PB or a super. But if you notice MM2's ammo count, he actually found an extra power bomb pack at Trade's power bomb. So, like power bomb location. You know, I think it's a missile in vanilla, right? That you have to power bomb it to reveal it. Yeah,
That's right.
Trade missile.
Yeah, it's a nice power bomb pickup. I mean, with regards to P-Toil's decision, I think, well, there's Heat Shield. That's going to help a lot. I think with P-Toil's decision to go in and check that closet location, at this point, you're still looking for your 25th and 30th super. I don't hate that decision. I think at least peeking the item and seeing what it is, picking up a missile there is not necessarily what you're looking for. I think the possibility to get a super is pretty powerful, especially if your intention is to go down here and potentially do suitless. If you score on Vari or something, you want your Ridley fight to go as fast as possible.
Yeah, I mean, that heat shield is going to be a huge help, because I was doing a comment on how they can basically do like hell runs right now. But yeah, that heat shield is definitely gonna speed things up for the both of them.
Yeah, and may have even made the decision, like confirmed the decision to go through with all of Upper Norfair here. 4 tanks. You are in logic with that, with those 4 tanks for hell runs, but gosh, it's just so slow with all the refills.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely a tough. Like, because Cathedral Hellrun, I'm pretty sure, is 4 E-Tanks, and we've got 3 E-Tanks and a reserve. So it definitely would have been a really tight Hellrun to get through here.
Yeah, so let's see what we find. I expect the runners, unless they hit on Varia immediately, and maybe even still then, to just pick up all 3 of these items. We'll see. Is MM going to check down here? No, and that would have been... Oh, I see, right. I forgot about X-Ray, of course. Yeah, and in this case, you already have ice, so you don't necessarily need the 3rd power bomb pack. It could be useful, but I think you don't go back for it there.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would just be useful just so he could, like, Crystal Flash. Mm-hmm. So if he were, like, to find the grapple beam and then fight Dragon, then Crystal Flashing would be, like, really good. But there's a power bomb pack in the Norfair Reserve anyway, so definitely the right skip to do.
P-Toil will run into that one, and they'll both be at 15. So, like you said, even that CF will be available for both runners.
Oh, and there's the Varia suit. Yeah, that's definitely a low and off fair play if I've ever seen one. Like, we're pretty much almost there. Like, having 15 power bombs plus the 20 supers, like, Ridley's gonna be pretty quote-unquote easy. And, you've got high jump boots, like...
Yeah, you've got high jump and screw. I mean, I think there's no way that MM does not go into LN here. I would expect the same from P-Toil, but let's see.
Yeah, P-Toil's routing... I actually liked how MN2 routed it better, because now MN2 can just check wave and then immediately go to low and alpha, whereas P-Toil kind of has to weigh up the benefits and the risks of going back to Norfair Reserve over like just going straight down.
Yeah, an unfortunate drop there for P-Toil. This is always a tricky room coming through this transition. A lot of different visual cues that you could potentially set up to not fall here, but gets over it the second time. Yeah, I mean, 4+1 with high jump and screw. I think that makes for a reasonably comfy lava dive and start to LN. You do have the crystal flash if something goes wrong and you absolutely need it. Let's see. Yeah, high jump. The way with high jump out of screw is pretty nasty here. So I don't know, you could potentially save going into LN and spot check that item to see if it is gravity. That's good information to have. I think that would be a defensible play. But in all likelihood, maybe you see no save whatsoever, and then both of our runners just go through and skip that screw altogether. I like having that information and knowing what's there, especially if you have the loadout for, they're a grapple away essentially at this point, right? From Suitless Meridia, if you know that gravity is there, for example, and you can just give up on looking for it, then your decision-making tree is a little bit simplified.
Yeah, I need to ask the question. Getting out screw, you can get out there by, like, the door jump, right, with high jump boots, or do you, like, need something else?
No, the door jump straight up requires high jump and speed. If you have high jump alone, the door jump requires you to do kind of a stand-in-place jump into a CWJ off the corner above the door. It's not easy. I actually find it a little bit harder than hypo jump, but I've practiced it a lot less. So it's possible to get out with high jump alone, but so far the setups that exist for it, which I think was originally demonstrated by Aussie, are by no means straightforward.
Right. Yeah. And I'm into going the other way down to Elona for... I guess I always forget that the, like, new route way, you kind of need gravity for that, because you take the lava damage.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you can do it the way you would in Mappo, actually, with only Varia, but it's quite a bit slower, and you want to save that health for Lava Dive here. Oh, yeah. MM going with the aggressive setup here for this Lava Dive. So we'll have to be careful about this flame up top. Okay, good, no problem. Nicely done, GG.
Before this race, MM2 did a GT Classic race. So I think he's pretty comfortable with the Lava Dive there.
All right, folks, here we go. We have a save from MM2. I think that this is an indication that we are going to get a spot check of the screw item. I think this is actually a really nice bit of information that you're going to get. I don't expect MM to break out that crazy CWJ, but having that information is really great. And you could potentially run into a way out of there as well, right? You could run into bombs or double jump or space jump, maybe even speed, and all of those would actually be great pickups that would save you a lot of time throughout the rest of the seed. P-Toil also taking the save.
MM2 is skipping it. And, I mean, I was gonna say I'd expect MM2 to skip screw attack, but when I saw him save, I thought for sure he was gonna at least check it.
Yeah, same. I guess maybe it's just a bit of a safety save. Without Varia, it is a little bit dangerous. Although you do have screw and high jump, we are getting a Mickey Mouse.
They have Varia. What do you mean?
Oh, excuse me. Without gravity, I apologize. Without gravity, it's still a little bit dangerous in LN. So maybe it was just a safety save from both of our runners. Interesting. Well, I was proven dead wrong, but I was certain that with that save from both of the runners, someone was going to be checking some information at screw.
Yeah, it's a tough call. Like, we've already skipped, like, I guess 2 majors, because we've skipped Gauntlet, we've skipped Waterway.
And X-Ray.
We've also skipped X-Ray, so that's 4 majors skipped. So we're definitely getting into more dangerous territory now.
Yeah, and going for the Firefleet check here first, it could prove to be slightly inefficient as far as the routing goes, but see what you pick up. Yeah, I mean, you pick up that Spazer for sure. Yeah, but this is a little inefficient. I guess, well, no, I take that back. They're both still on 20 supers, and so having Spazer here is going to be nice. It'll help potentially speed up this Ridley fight. P-Toil does need to be careful here. Okay, should be fine now.
Yeah, P-Toil is on much lower health than MM2, so he might have to spend a lot more time farming, or potentially, like, doing... Well, I don't think he'd do a Crystal Flash. I think he'd just have to farm up to, like, a more comfortable health. Like, maybe he will just go into the Ridley fight with, like, what he's got currently. Or maybe he'll get really good drops on the Metal Pirates, I'm not sure. But, I'd be a little scared. Oh wow. A 25th super pack at Powerbomb's a shame.
That's
That
pretty good.
is yeah, that is really nice.
Yeah, so there, including the power bombs there, if you have a good setup for double hitting, already had sufficient ammo even without Spazer to take out Ridley. A little bit slow, but yeah, as you point out, the 25th super just makes things so much easier here, especially because that's pretty much your only way of killing the metal pirates. So really nice to find that 25th super.
I'm into taking a bit of an acid bath before Ridley. Why not?
Okay, I don't know what P-Toil's reserve situation is here, but we need P-Toil to be really careful. Oh boy, and tanking that face hit with screw attack. Yikes.
Yeah.
Okay.
He
so
did
just want to be
save.
really careful here.
He did save, but there is a potential for him to lose a lot of time.
I'm gonna need to take a look at this in the practice hack. I think just using screw here to farm is faster than freezing these enemies. Because it's two shots every time. It's got to be faster to just use screw.
I mean, he's got ice on, so you know it's not the most optimal.
All right, let's see. This should be a pretty straightforward fight. It should just be the 30 missiles and the 25 supers. No, not even any need to use the power bombs. I'm gonna get them all out in the way at the beginning. That may have been a missed super there from MM. It was hard to tell. I think one of those may have hit the back of the tail.
Oh, that's definitely missed into the wall.
So still okay, not a problem here. Has the 12 missiles necessary to back that up, which I think are going to be faster on DPS than Spazer. Yeah, and then MM quickly made that adjustment after setting up the one charge shot. No, that's not enough. I don't think he realized that he missed one of those, and that should be enough. Yep.
Yeah. Well, we're definitely seeing a lead on MM2's side right now, because like P-Toil, you know, took an extra save and is also like farming a bit longer to get more health.
Yeah, for sure.
If P-Toil has like a good fight, he can definitely close the gap.
Yeah, and I think the routing in Upper Norfair sort of led to the lead change as well. So all of those factors together have put MM ahead. And this is tricky. You want to be really careful. MM had the leeway of the extra couple super packs, or excuse me, missile packs. That's not the case here for P-Toil. So yeah, throwing in some extra charge shots, which I think is a little good safety there. Yeah, and then once Ridley turns red, it's either 14 or 15 supers, depending how Ridley enters that red phase. Oh boy, that super totally missed. Okay, so we're gonna see a kind of chaotic end to this fight here. You do want to be careful. Oh dear, oh dear.
Yeah, it does make me wonder why P-Toil didn't lay any power bombs at the start of the fight, just because he was doing with like, you know, 30 missiles.
Yeah. Oh dear. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh god. Okay. Holy smokes, folks. Just enough ammo delivered. Ridley is down. P-Toil with 20 health will get health bombed, but survives. And folks, that is just enough because this seed is not over yet. We have not yet figured out the progression through this seed. We don't know what the answer is yet. P-Toil could make a divergence decision and come back. That 20 health is saving the race right now for P-Toil. GG's. Way to survive there.
Yeah, that could have ended really bad if Ridley like decided to hit him with his tail. Like but luckily he's fine, and it does beg the question for me now, like, are either of the runners gonna go check Croc or not before Meridia, like, and bank on it being like Gravity or Grapple?
By the way, shoutouts to MM2. It wasn't necessary, but pulled off that really nice X-ray clip to stand up and get out of Key Hunter stairs there. That was well executed, MMGG.
Yeah, it took him like 3 tries, but you know, he got it.
It's a good question, Eden. I don't know. I mean, there's 2 items there you can check. You don't have plasma, so you're not going to have a completely free croc fight. And the nice thing, oh wow, P-Toil also going for it, getting it a little faster. I don't know, so it's like something they agreed to ahead of time. That's really funny. The nice thing about Dash is that you can actually go in there and check just the Croc E-Tank and leave, because that door is always blue, even after the fight. You don't have to wait for Croc to be totally dead. So that's an option to peek in there and maybe check just the one item if you don't want to commit all the way to going to grapple. It looks like that is going to be at least the beginning of what MM is doing. But you have pressure valve, right? So in this situation, you might just say, you know what, I'll leave Croc. I could always come back to it if that's absolutely the answer. But with pressure valve, you have access to so many additional major checks in Meridia, and that could be a divergence play here for P-Toil. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be slightly good if you want to check grapple though, because you'd most definitely want to do the green gate glitch. But it just kind of beg the question of, you know, that X-ray item, that waterway item, now that we've got Spazer. But honestly, it would be a really good play for P-Toil to just skip Crocomire right now. And what a vanilla Croc E-Tank. Is this even randomized, chat? But yeah, it does look like P-Toil is skipping that Croc chat. And it's gonna be interesting to see if M2 is just gonna leave now. But no, I think he's gonna commit. So this could probably make or break the race here right now. Because P-Toil could definitely still do the front half of Meridia and find Gravity or Grapple in Meridia.
Yep. Yeah, and I think this is the one thing that I'm still trying to figure out about Dash Recall, is that because of the addition of pressure valve, it gives you a lot more flexibility, but unfortunately, I think one of the things that it does is it introduces these additional branch points to where if you just pick wrong, you lose, right? So MM has played very well, has decided to make a reasonable Croc play to check for 2 majors. If the answer isn't at one of these 2 majors, though, and P-Toil uses pressure valve to go in Meridia, the seed is probably over. There's just Croc is just such a long check, right? But if you leave it behind and you think your opponent is going to check Croc, and that is the answer, then you also lose. So it's kind of tough. It's kind of tough. Yeah, so it's just plasma, unfortunately, and there's the reset from MM2. That doesn't feel good, unfortunately.
No, it doesn't. In any other like kind of randomizer, that plasma would be really nice, but I think it's just come a little too late.
Yeah, so let's see. I expect P-Toil will go up here, and we'll check the new major, right? So this is one of the changes of Dash Recall, is that one of the new major locations is at at Watering Hole. And then we'll see after that if that's not the answer. I would expect P-Toil to then go down and check Plasma and Shack, which you can do with Pressure Valve. We were actually timing this out recently in one of the Discords to see which of these was faster, whether you go back through Everest with Pressure Valve, or if you go down through the East Meridia location and the Sandpits. You can't actually get any of those items with this loadout comfortably, but you can actually go through the Sandpits. It's slightly faster to go through the Sandpits if you're trying to get down to Shack and Plasma. So we'll see what P-Toil ends up deciding to do.
So is Plasma open then, without killing Dragon?
Yes, Plasma and Shack have been altered, right? So Shack doesn't have the sand or the grapple block, and Plasma is open, and the metal pirates, or excuse me, the pirates in that room are now green pirates.
Yeah. By the way, chat, I would love to see Shatul in the seed. A Gravity at Shatul.
Double jump, there's a nice find. That'll make things a little bit easier getting through the Sandfall rooms, but has not broken the seed open yet. So there's a very good chance that the answer is at Shack or Plasma here, and I expect P-Toil will be checking both. Obviously, the answer could be in Wrecked Ship, but I think the correct play in this decision point is to check both Shack and Plasma before going Forgotten Highway to Wrecked Ship. We'll see. But yeah, I mean, unfortunately, this is the thing, right? Is I think MM made a very defensible choice, which is to pick up those two majors. And so far it hasn't paid off. One potential way that MM can get back into this is the answer could be at Waterway or X-Ray. We do have Waterway unlocked now with Spazer, and X-Ray is something that both of our runners skipped. So you could theoretically see a decision where the runners decide, instead of going to the back of Meridia, sort of the right side of Meridia, which is what P-Toil is doing, if MM were to leave and pick up Waterway or X-Ray, and that's the answer, then MM could get right back into this race.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if MM2 will backtrack for any items though, because, you know, he already did the croc check and it didn't pay off. But I can definitely see P-Toil being like more likely to do those checks.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I don't know. Let me think about this. So P-Toil are going to be checking Shack, and then we'll go up the toilet to check Plasma. And I think from there, it just routes so naturally to go in Direct Ship. But then you're leaving behind Waterway and X-Ray as sort of last locations after Wrecked Ship. There is also the possibility that Gravity was at Screw. In which case we're going to be seeing a suitless seed here once one of these runners find Grapple.
Yeah, it will definitely be a shame if Grapple or Gravity is at Screw Attack. But yeah, Shetul, the best check in the game. No bias whatsoever. It's kind of a scam that you don't have to wait for Shetul, to be honest. Okay. What is it? Oh, baby! It's a Gravity suit at Shetul. Let's go.
This is really unfortunate for MM because of the croc checks. Yeah, so going down... Oh, that's interesting. So he's going to try to get some information here. It's actually slower if you do it this way, to check left sandpit first. But you might get some information. Now, logically, Gravity cannot be in the left sandpit, but you might gain some information from this check. Yeah, I think this is just too slow, though. After the croc check, unless MM doesn't know that this can't be Gravity.
I think he has to know, like the logic. Maybe he's just hoping for like, oh no, MM2, please don't fully commit to this grapple beam. I will go to your house.
I mean, it's possible. It's slow. I mean, you're already going down here, so gosh, I think you probably...
Right. No, don't do it! No!
Wow.
Oh, he wants me to go to his house. Alright, I'm booking flights to MM2's state right now. £2,000? Oh my god. Oh man.
Yeah, and so, folks, you see perfect sync right here between the runners. Of course, the big difference is the item trade-off. One of our runners has Grapple, the other has Gravity, and so MM is going to be able to complete this seed with this loadout, but unfortunately it's going to be several minutes slower. Yeah, it's just really unfortunate. MM made that commitment to go through to Croc, and it just did not pay off. It just did not pay off.
Yeah, man. I'm always telling MM2 to go to Shetul. Why doesn't he listen to me?
Yeah, I mean, we can ask him about that in the interviews. My guess is that you come down there, you check that left sandpit, and you think, at this point, I found Grapple, I made the long croc check. You have to essentially hope that Gravity is not at Plasma or Shack, because if it isn't, right, if it's at X-Ray, if it's at Waterway, if it's at Screw, and you have Grapple, and you play on Grapple immediately, the way that MM2 does, you win this seed. You just outright win this seed. if gravity is where it ended up being, then you lose, and you're probably already behind because of the croc check. So I think it's a defensible play. It's just that we have, we're able to see where P-Toil is, and the fact that P-Toil already found gravity. It's unfortunate.
Yeah, for sure. It's also really annoying that MM2 can't keep the plasma beam from Croc, because that means, like, he can't X-ray this bot wound or Dragon. Like, it's just annoying for no reason.
Yeah, and didn't have the supers to make this any faster. So just to answer a question in chat, where else could gravity have been logically at this point? With Spazer, Waterway was unlocked. With this loadout and with grapple, or even without grapple, I believe that X-ray was in logic. That logic for X-ray has changed a little bit in the last couple days, so I'm not 100% sure, but I think it could have still been an X-ray here. And then obviously could have still been a screw attack, and could have been within wreck chip somewhere.
Yeah, like, betting on this seed, it would kind of seem like gravity was in wreck chip just because of all the locations there are. But this seed knew that I was commentating, therefore it was at Shirt Tool. It's just how it works. Please note, having a suit at Shirt Tool is insanely rare. Like, even in the Chozo seeds that we had like last week, I don't think I saw I think I might have seen one actually. Yes, it is really that rare. You never see them. And sometimes you get 2 in 1 week. It's just the beauty of RNG.
Yeah, I think so. To answer another question in chat, full suitless is about 4 minutes slower from end to end, like if you're doing area, for example. Here with pressure valve, it's not going to be as punishing because pressure valve does get you through everything but East Meridia, but I don't know the exact numbers. I would need to check with the pressure valve patch on, but it's got to be at least 2 minutes slower. Don't quote me on that, though.
Why did MM2 turn off his suits?
Yeah, so it's interesting because P-Toil did have 0 supers, and there's not really anything around there that drops them. So did have to go up and farm those bugs in order to get supers, and that was actually quite a long delay. And that does play a little bit into helping MM here, but unfortunately, I don't know. I think it's just too much. It's just going to be too much.
Alright, Trent is saying he turned off his suits so he can damage down on Drayon, which makes sense, because obviously you'd want to Crystal Flash, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting decision. With that many tanks and high jump and grapple, I mean, I guess it depends what you're more comfortable doing, but I think that just a grapple escape is probably just fine here. But oh right, of course, sorry. This is suitless. This is the grapple. It's for the precious escape. Yep.
Yeah, if he had Spring Ball, it would be fine to not do the Crystal Flash, but yeah. So this is going to be a kind of annoying fight for P-Toil, because he doesn't have speed, and he doesn't have grapple, so he's gonna have to go for this grapple kill. And Dragon can be really irritating, just because like she obviously like swoops way more as like you fire more ammo into her, so it can actually get kind of tricky. But with the number of E-tanks he has, yeah, it's fine. But yeah, looks like M2's waiting in order to do the kill that he wants to do on Dragon.
Yeah, and this is going to be the real difference maker. It's an unfortunately slow Dragon too. It hasn't been really cooperative. Oh dear.
Yeah, MM2 really wanting this right to left dupe, but Dragon is just not having it.
Yeah, I mean, let me just reiterate one thing though, is that I still think that this is the right decision from MM. It's very nicely done executing that flash suit into a blue suit here. You see those echoes from Samus. I think this is still the right decision when you find grapple where it is, and there's so many locations where gravity could still be, that I think just committing at that point instead of spending the time in a lot of cases will net you the win, right? I mean, if you have to go all the way up in full clear wreck ship to find gravity before coming back, I think that beats this play. It's just unfortunate the way it worked out.
Yeah, for sure.
What would have been really interesting is the, gosh, I don't know, what is it, 2 minutes plus that you committed to Croc? If you just simply don't commit that time to Croc, how much closer is this, right? If MM2 just decides to go straight in and finds grapple first and then commits, this might be quite a bit closer right now.
Yeah, it's definitely a... It could have definitely be a closer race. No, MM2, don't do that!
Oh, gosh. He'll be fine. Yeah. MM2 is just too good. Executing it a second time, and he's out. Yep, and there's the RBO escape. Very, very nicely done.
I feel like I'm always like... This is gonna sound really mean, but every time people like do that pressure spark, I always think how funny it would be if they just missed it and bonked instead.
Yeah, that would be really unfortunate. Nice use of double jump there for MM2. He's almost through the worst of it. Almost through the worst of it.
Oh, the Forgotten Highway play. I like it.
Yeah, so it's a little bit slower. Let me think about this. Is this a little bit slower suitless, or is it faster? I actually have not timed this out. In almost all loadouts, it's slightly slower to go Forgotten Highway here. The benefit is that you get to spot check in dash. The item, the Wreck Ship E item, is actually available before the boss is dead. I don't know that MM2 would be checking anything else, though, here.
I mean, I just like seeing Forgotten Highway because it's such a meme. But yeah, having the pressure valve definitely speeds it up a tiny bit.
Yeah, I don't know what the time trade-off is between... This is something that I'll need to go and investigate. The time trade-off between doing Everest suitless versus doing Cack Alley suitless in this case. Nice little air doppler there from P-Toil.
Yeah, kind of missing that 2-round. There we go. So yeah, I think it's gonna be interesting because obviously if MM2 finds speed at Wreck Ship E-Tank and P-Toil doesn't find anything and just skips the items, like I think speed is kind of like the last Hail Mary for MM2 here, because that would allow him to theoretically do baby skip as well.
Really nice use of Spring Ball there through East Ocean. Yeah, I mean, spiking speed here would be interesting, but I totally understand why MM2 is not checking. You've just got to feel behind at this point. Kind of surprised P-Toil is even checking any items at this point. With 4 bosses dead, I think you just go. Speed is the only thing that saves time. I mean, maybe Wave. Does Wave sort of break even with Baby Skip? It's close. It's close. I'm not sure about that. MM?
M2 picking up missiles? Question mark?
Maybe just face planted, hoping to find supers. I'm not sure. You're still below the threshold of 150 charge damage, where picking up a pack of supers would actually save a little bit of time here on Mother Brain 2.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see if P-Toil decides to check Gauntlet. Because then you have a major and then 2 minors as well. Just because like charge, ice, and Spazer kind of is sucky, but I think because he skips those missiles on Moat, I think it's unlikely.
It's just such a slow check. I don't know.
He's taking a ship refill though.
Yeah, I think you want to get your supers back up here. I think that makes sense.
Nah, you gotta risk it in Taurian.
The 150 damage is just it's such a slow fight at this point. I mean, it's been very well played by P-Toil, right? I made a lot of really good routing decisions and handled the seed, I think, really well. Maybe some unnecessary checks late. I'm not sure I agree with the right supers check, but made a lot of minor skips early, which did not come back to cost him in any meaningful way.
No, he definitely wants those missiles.
Yeah, I think this is just a time loss here, unfortunately.
Yeah, I feel like I thought MM2 was gonna play a lot more aggressively because he checked Crop and it didn't pay off, and then he had to do Suitless, but yeah. Maybe he's thinking, oh, if I'm already behind, why not just have like better ammo or something? The seed does not want to give them more supers though. It seems like there's only 25 supers in this entire seed. I mean, yeah, theoretically M2 doesn't know he's behind, but at the same time, I think he has to feel behind. Alright, let's see the baby skip. Unless we somehow see a speedless baby skip, which would be very interesting.
Yeah, high jump alone is really not that bad. Without wave, you just turn on power bombs, and it's pretty easy to get through the seaweed. I've practiced it quite a bit. Speed alone is nearly impossible. High jump alone, though, is pretty doable.
I think he's doing. No, he got baby slow down.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate there. I think the hardest part of high jump only is finishing there, is that last little bit. Without speed, I think it's quite a bit more challenging. I actually like to opt. It's doable with the new Stashio skip setup. I find it quite a bit easier with only high jump alone to just do the standard method there. But it was a good attempt. It was very nicely set up until the final jump.
He's also wasting on some of those supers on that door. In SMH, P-Toil is taking a save and then resetting to get rid of it. SMH.
Yeah, we
Although
can
I
ask
think
MM at the end. I don't know. I feel like if you were gonna make those 3 missile pickups, the time probably would have been better spent trying to check the wrecked ship E major. Because again, if you had spiked something like speed at this point, well, specifically speed, it would have been pretty huge.
Yeah. Although P-Tile is kind of wasting a lot of time here. I do think
Yeah.
it's probably a little too late for round 2. But the fact that I don't like this at all. Why didn't he just go for second Zeb skip? Oh well.
It's a little
P-Tile going
tricky
for
without
the...
wave there, because you have to go under and crouch and point up.
Actually, no you don't. Thanks
Really?
to Edenate discovering the waveless second Zeb skip, you can totally do it on top.
With the down shot, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a little precise though, isn't it?
It's not too bad. It's nearly impossible with just Charge and Ice, but with Spazer it's fine.
Okay.
It's actually harder with Spazer than it is with like Charge Ice and Plasma. Like I would like menu off Plasma and turn on Spazer just to do it. But yeah, that's your fun Edenate fact of the day. But yeah, I'm into getting the patented baby skip. I think he'll have a better time in this fight just because I don't think he'll spend as much supers as P-Tile did. But I think you're right, if he completely skips that proc check, I think they would both be in this Mother Brain fight right now.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know. I think I just feel bad for MM2 here because, you know, it was ostensibly not even. I mean, it was just objectively the right decision. You find Grappler, and there are so many outstanding locations at this point where gravity could be. Waterway, X-ray, Screw. Obviously, worst case scenario, it could be right in front of you at Spring Ball or Plasma, but you're already behind because you checked Croc. Could be at anywhere in wrecked ship. I mean, there's like more than 10 locations where it could be. Your odds of finding it quickly are pretty low. And at that point, finding grapple, bailing, and just doing the play that MM did, if you're comfortable with that, and honestly, he executed pretty well, except for kind of an annoying pattern from Dragon, I think you just win outright at that point.
Yeah, it's definitely been a tough siege in general, I think. Although I'm not really a huge fan of M2's health here. I think he should have reset the room instead of going down into the acid and like taking the damage he did, trying to do the Zeb skip again, because he forgot to turn off Screw Attack. Uh-oh.
Well, there is a race delay here, so kind of breaking the fourth wall, but I'm assuming that MM saw P-Toil 10 minutes in the future. We're 10 minutes in the past, so to speak, with the race delay. Probably saw the dot done, and
no, his stream is still going. Hold on, I'm gonna attempt to fix this.
Okay. Yeah, I guess it depends on whether the stream discard was there, the delay discard.
Oh, wait, the stream is doing something? It changed frames? Oh, it should be working, I think, like... Because it's fine on the commentate. Yeah, like, what the heck is going on, chat?
Nice ceiling infinite bomb jump. GG toilet.
Did you just say toilet?
No, toil.
Oh my god, M2 is gaming in Parlor right now? For real?
I'm seeing MM2's seed flash before my eyes.
You know how just before you die your life flashes before your eyes? I feel like that's happening right now.
Just before you lose in Super Metroid Randomizer.
So real. Yeah, I don't know why it's broken. Alright, chat.
Get him in chat, folks.
GG's for finishing with a race time of 1:00:25. And I promise you, MM2 is still playing the game.
Yeah, GG's to both of our runners. I thought it was very well executed overall by P-Toil. Had a good plan. Went with a good set of decisions, skipping Croc, and then just relying on Pressure Valve and what it would unlock. Made sort of the skips that were necessary, both early with the miners and then later with Croc, and it absolutely paid off. But MM, I don't know. Would have been really close with that level of execution in Suitless Suitless Meridia, if it had not been for that Croc check. Gosh, I don't know. It's unfortunate because you make a play like that, you feel pretty good about that play. Given how many locations are left, it just didn't pay out. All right, and we are joined by our winner, P-Toil, with another win, second win in a row. Coming off your great win last week, joining us in chat, GG P-Toil, excellently raced, great win.
Hey, thank you, GG. I feel bad about this one because MM2 did make the right move, and I feel like he should have won. He was definitely, from what I've heard, it sounds like he was playing very well, and I kind of feel bad taking the win from him. I just happened to get lucky. Rando's gonna Rando, but...
Well, let's ask you about that, because I'm not sure. I mean, I think you can certainly say MM got unlucky. I'm not sure that you necessarily got lucky. I think you, well, I mean, yeah. Dash is difficult, right? There's a lot of branching points, and at a certain point, you have to decide, are you going to Croc? Are you using Pressure Valve to get through, right? Obviously, both of you are not going up to wreck chip early on in that seed. There's a couple decisions that you did need to make. So starting with the early part of the seed, it looked like you decided you were going to skip a lot of miners, even those that are in the same room, just to save a little bit of extra time. So just maybe give us a sense of, walk us through your main strategy. What was your approach coming into this race?
Yeah, I guess I was focusing on the majors. Obviously with Dash, you get the free charge. So if I could find charge upgrades too, then I don't need as many miners. Yeah, I mean, I guess once I got down to Norfair and I found that heat shield, I was definitely thinking I was going to do early low Norfair, and finding Varia, then it was definite. I didn't even need to worry about having to deal with my health.
Boyle sub.
Sup,
M2 sup.
GG.
Eden sub.
GG MM.
GG.
So let's take the logical progression of that. P12, you went into LN. I think that's obviously both of you did that. It was more or less tit for tat at that point. You were a little ahead early. I think some of the routing decisions in Bubble Mountain put MM ahead a little bit. It was slightly cleaner for those 3 Bubble Mountain items. But you both went down in. You were both in Ridley at roughly the same time. MM finished a little bit ahead. But P12, how are you feeling during that Ridley fight? Because you were down at 2-0, big 20 health, and a tail swipe there would have ended your run. So.
Yeah, I was in there more for like hoping he'd pick me up, because I wasn't sure if I still needed one more charge shot or if I had gotten enough. It was like, I think I had gotten like just the right amount of charge shots in to kill Ridley.
Yeah,
it managed to work out. I was so scared.
Yeah. And so then what about exiting and your decision to skip Croc? Was that sort of a game time decision, or was that something that you were always planning on doing with Pressure Valve and just moving through?
Well, at that point, there was only one more item I needed, or one of any 3 items. I either needed Gravity, Grapple, or Spring Ball for go mode. Mm-hmm. So I could have found either one of those, and it would have allowed me to finish. Luckily, I found Gravity, which was the fastest, but any of them would have worked. So generally, I feel like the Croc check is just, it's slow. I don't really like it that much. I don't like betting on Croc. So I was just hoping I'd find what I needed in West Meridia. And if not, then I was going to go to Wreck Ship and just take care of that and then come down and finish Meridia.
That's a reasonable play. MM, I'm sorry, bud. I think you objectively made the right decision. You found Grapple. It was a good go item. The pickup was a little slow there, but I think there's 10 or 11 major locations outstanding that could have Gravity. I think you made the right decision, and it's just the placement of Gravity made it such that you got punished for it.
I'm more annoyed that I wasn't courageous enough to go for underwater wall jumps, because I was like, I feel like if I was playing against Zost or somebody, or like who else is a Varia player in playoffs, like Zost or Osher, Eden, sure, but yeah, like one of those like people, then I feel like I would have gone for it, just because I feel like I would have needed to push it. But I felt like with finding Grapple, I was like, okay, this is like fine, I guess, and I sure hope I have enough time to justify the Croc play, because I wanted to just cover my butt against a potential P12, like a potential scenario where P12 does Croc and there's Gravity there, and then I just lose. So that was my thought behind the Croc play. Then West Meridia was just West Meridia. Then I found Grapple, and I was like, I want to do underwater wall jumps, but I also don't want to lose the race by doing them, because I felt like that was definitely a thing that could have happened if I had committed to underwater wall jumps. Mm-hmm. And then I opened the prac hack right after I cut stream and got it like 5th try, and I was like, come on, man. But yeah, that's my story.
It was an excellent race from both of you. It was neck and neck, back and forth, trading leads going through Lower Norfair. There was, a really exciting Ridley fight that was really butt clenching. I'm curious, both of you did save going into LN. It turned out to just be a safety save. I was really curious, were either one of you with that save considering spot checking the screw location?
So my save was, I was doing Lava Dive. Right after Lava Dive, I was like, oh yeah, let's go to Screw. Wait, I don't have the things to get out of Screw. Let's save so I can check Screw. And then I realized that checking Screw is dumb and stupid, and I shouldn't have done it. So I did.
I had the exact same thought process. I was thinking of going down, and I was like, I don't have the items, plus I only need one more item for go mode. I'm just going to skip it. It's probably not worth.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. So the save for both of you is considering that, and then deciding maybe on the elevator down, like, actually, that's slow.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, okay.
For me, it was like entering pre-pillars.
Sure.
But yeah, you get what I mean.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I think this is just the thing with Dash, right? The extra items give you access to a lot more potential places. Pressure Valve might make you skip Croc and go straight into Meridia, and at that point, if the answer is in essentially north, south, or west Meridia, and you skip Croc, you're probably winning. Although, I don't know, it would have been really close. So you spend, 2.5 minutes in Croc, probably full clearing it, MM. If you don't do that and you turn around at grapple, it might actually be really, really close at the end. I think it's
agree,
still advantage
honestly.
P-Toil, but or like, if you swap it, if gravity is at plasma and you have to go all the way to plasma after that, then it gets really, really interesting.
Yeah, I definitely think like keeping the plasma is like makes it closer because you just get the microwave Boston and potentially Dragon depending on what you're doing, and Ventoon, so just save a billion years. But I also got fast Ventoon, so it's like, how do you really save that much time over that? You do, but you don't save all that much.
Yeah, well, P-Toil, any other thoughts about that race? I mean, I think you made a really good game plan. You executed really well. Can't really argue with almost any of your decisions there, and it put you out on top.
Well, one thing I want to point out, since I don't know if it's going to show on the restream, GGMM2 on the Mappo escape.
Thank you, P-Toil. I saw your finish like at the end of Escape Room 3, and I just turned around and got the other two map tiles.
I saw that. Yeah, I pulled up your stream.
Yeah. Yeah, we agreed when scheduling this race that the loser had to do Mappo escape.
Okay.
How are you gonna do that if one of you was like in like Parlor?
Well, we were gonna try our best.
Get as much as you can.
Yep. But yeah, GG P-Toil.
GG.
I wish we could have seen Mappo escape, but unfortunately we've been stuck on like several frames of MM2's gameplay for some reason.
Well, luckily, if you follow me at twitch.tv MM2S cartridge, you can see the Mappo escape VOD.
Stop shilling! I need to do the shilling, grr.
No.
Yeah. So chat, if you enjoyed this race, follow our runners. Not MM2 though. I hate MM2.
Oh my god.
This is a joke. Me and MM2 are friends.
This is not a joke. I hate Eden. I'm kidding.
Well, okay. Can I report MM2 for mod abuse? Well,
oh my god.
I'm not even a mod, Eden.
You're a race time mod. It's still abuse.
This isn't race time. This is Discord.
This is player abuse.
You're not a player. You're a commentator.
Yeah, but you're a player.
right,
We're both commentators, actually.
I don't know about
Alright.
any of this, but to bring it around full circle here, this was an excellent matchup. It does really impact the standings. Will cut Bress for rupees now at 8-3. Mastercard Lotus at 8-3. One race left for each of these teams. Do y'all know, without checking the schedule, can you give us an update on when your teammates are playing?
Bress and Dosser are playing Sunday 3 p.m. Eastern.
Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern. Folks, take a look for it. The winner of that match will vault themselves into at least second place in the standings, depending on the outcome of the two races today between Vileplume and Shaktuel's Nightmare. All four of these teams vying for first place in the division still, depending on the outcomes of those races. It's going to be really interesting. It's neck and neck for all of these teams in Brinstar Division going into the final week of the regular season. So hold on to your butts and stay tuned. It's gonna be an absolute photo finish.
For sure. But yeah, thank you two for playing. This was fun. This was exciting. We got Gravity at Shaktuel. So what more could I have asked for from this race, really? But yeah. Thank you everyone for watching. Thank you Dasa12, yes, the Dasa12, for tracking this match. Been doing a great job. Thank you Prof for commentating with me on short notice, Peepo. And thank you to Eden8 for commentating.
Who's that loser?
Yeah, follow me if you want. I am trying to get a PB of sub 59 in Super Metroid N%. So yeah, if you're into Super Metroid, follow any of those people. We're currently in the midst of several races happening all at once. But if you're not into speed gaming 5 or speed gaming 2, there is going to be a race in an hour on Speed Gaming 2.
Yes, ding ding ding.
But I was trying to do the maths in my head between Mass Hysteria and Mr. Guy Average. So don't miss that. But yeah, thank you everyone.
Thank you, everyone, and thank you, Eden, for the commentary. Thanks to everyone who's organizing this, and to Diesel for helping with the restream. Everyone is pitching in to make this just an absolutely excellent experience. Stay tuned for those next races. We've got a jam-packed schedule, as Eden pointed out. Congratulations one more time to P-Toil on the victory, and GG to both of our runners. Folks, stay tuned for more Super Metroid. We will see you next mission.
Bye, everyone.